Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Wow, a little delayed there, Grump. But with us here also tonight, we've got here our special guest, the Comment King, the magnificent Son X.
That's right. It's X time. Let's get it.
It's X time.
It's X time. Let's hit it. You heard him.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Jesus Christ, X. Oh, man. Tonight here, there's a lot.
Man, it's late. It's late. Wow, we got a real late start
What
tonight.
else is new? I mean, is that shocking to you in any way, shape, or form?
Dang, it's about time for bed.
Oh, fuck. Please stop. Stop. X.
40 minutes late today.
You know who we're going to blame for that? X.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
blaming on X
You.
for the usual again.
You.
Yeah, we're blaming X. Tonight, I'm blaming X. I was on time.
The fuck out of here.
Grumpy gave me a call and took about 25 to 30 minutes of my time as I was getting prepared before we started the fucking show. And
Seen
shocked
that
me
never
enough,
flies
he called us to be
somewhere
late. He couldn't call any other time or ask any other questions any other time. You had to ask it as I'm getting prepped for showtime. And that's what caused me to be late.
X,
So-
you're just doing a great job. Can I just tell you that?
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I know.
Oh, looky here. Got to stroke the little ego there for the little Son X. But for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week all sports show. We talk about anything and everything sports on this channel. We talk about football. We talk basketball. We talk baseball. We talk college athletics. We talk NHL. We talk hockey. We talk European football. We talk anything and everything sports on this show. So if you're new to the channel and you like some of the friendly banter, you like the back and forth that we've got, you like some of the topics that we talk about, make sure to do a few things for me. Make sure, first off, to subscribe on YouTube, right? Because if you subscribe on YouTube, that makes sure that you don't miss out on any future episodes here. And also, make sure, if you like the content, leave a thumbs up. It lets us know that you like the videos that we're putting out. And hey, apparently it helps the algorithm also. And it gets this fun time of talking sports and shooting the shit out to the masses. So make sure, again, you subscribe on YouTube and like the video. For today's podcast, man, oh man, is there a lot to cover. We're going to talk about the national championship game, the Natty. Don't worry, we got plenty to talk about there. We're going to also be talking about, guess what? Bill Belichick leaving the Patriots. Pete Carroll and Nick Saban both retiring here this week as well. Wow, oh, wow. You talk about the changing of guards.
Well,
There definitely
Pete
are some
Carroll-
in the NFL.
Pete Carroll was fired.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
forced out.
And
was
then
forced
he's
out.
not taking any new jobs, so he's retired.
Yeah, we can say that, but it's not like he retired.
He
was
did
forced
retire because are you telling me nobody would offer Pete Carroll another job?
At 72 years old. How many teams are hiring 72-year-old coaches? He was forced out. Here's the thing. Bottom line, he wanted to stay coach of Seattle. They said no. He was forced out. So now he's an advisor. So,
He's
there you go.
retired.
He was forced out. He politicked for his job, and they said, fuck you. We're done with you. Fuck you. Pay me. Goodbye.
You know,
He
believe
was
it or not,
forced out.
somebody mentioned that. He's like, man, I'm just catching up on the Islanders Never Said I podcast, and Grumpy's letting F-bombs go left and right. Is this what the show has come to? Is exactly what they said. I was like, damn, Grumpy, your potty mouth is going to get you in trouble. And I don't ever say anything bad like that. The fact that you're just a bad influence on me, Grump.
Don't worry,
Actually,
Grumpy.
that
I
was-
feel your pain. You can only deal with incompetence for so long before you start letting the F-bombs fly.
Thank you, Mr. X. Thank you.
Oh, X, look at X over there. He's
That was
he's mooching
actually-
and
that
kissing
was-
ass for something.
Actually, that quote was from Goodfellas.
Oh God. Anyway, I do want to mention,
Ray
right? There's a lot.
Ray
There's a
Liotta
lot
had
to
the line.
talk about. Okay, cool. There's a lot to talk about here. We got a lot. We got Nick Saban, right? We've got here Pete Carroll. We got Bill Belichick. Grumpy old man's gonna love this. We've got ourselves a little Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee drama nonsense, all that good stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about. Guess what? Tua Tagovailoa. He is on. He's headed to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. And I'm going to let you know something. The weather may be quite inclement. The weather may not be so great for Tua going there to Kansas City. So there's a lot to talk about here in today's show. And I think there's nothing better to start with. Well, first off, X, is there some comments that we need to get to X first to make sure we're current before we start jumping into some subject?
Let's read some of the comments.
Who is this? TJ Flipperini.
Flipperoony. It's Flipperoony.
God almighty, you no reading mother.
What? Okay, Flipperoony is not a real fucking word. X.
Flipperoni. Flipperoni.
Flipperoony is the way X or the way Grumpy pronounced it.
Whatever. Flipperoni, Flipperoony.
It's
whatever.
Flipperoony. 2 O's is Flipperoony, like as he's a flip-flop, flippity-flop.
Let's listen here.
Flip-flop, flippity-flop. Okay.
TJ Flipperoony says here, TJ was a diehard Michigan fan up until a few minutes before kickoff. At exactly 7:47 Eastern Standard Time, this past Monday night, he changed his mind and thought Washington would win, all based off of how Michigan looked running out. Yeah, I was about to say, you might want to include a few more than just one snippet of a text message saying, I'm thinking Washington probably might win this game. It was obviously said with a heavy dose of hyperbole, and it was facetious with that. I, the man who has been consistently talking about how Michigan was going to dominate Washington, had no fear in my opinion, at all. I did think to start the game, though, I was like, wow, Michigan's guys, they're over here hugging. They're doing a lot of weird shit. I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't necessarily look like a team that's ready to come out and play fired up. I'm like, you're hugging before the game. Come on, man. Washington looked more in the zone before the game started. I will say that, but just like we thought. Just like I thought, Michigan ran out there. They pummeled the living shit out of Washington, pounded the ball down their throat, dominated the line of scrimmage, dominated the point, dominated every single facet of that game, and absolutely manhandled Washington. And Grumpy's little boy Penix, well, when the big moment came and he had to play tough defense, they had little milk cartons out there for Penix saying, where is Penix? Grumpy, what happened? What happened
Profile
to Penix?
pick is evidence to prove this claim of TJ Flipperoony.
Grumpy, what happened to Washington, man? What happened to Penix?
They lost. The game was close.
He's as good as we all thought he was going to be, which wasn't
close. You thought the game was close?
If you remember, I said the one thing that he struggles with is pressure. And
throwing
I think
interceptions. Yeah, he does struggle with that.
And I think you saw that. I think he was also hurt. Obviously, he was injured.
Oh shit! Please stop.
Are you going to let me talk, or are you just going to chime in? Just keep on chiming in. I thought Michigan deserved to win. I thought they controlled the line of scrimmage both ways. Michael Penix in the first quarter had a guy wide open. He was inaccurate. Absolutely was inaccurate.
Wow. I thought you watched all the Pac-12 games.
Again, let me finish. Thank you.
Okay.
The issue that you've seen with Michael Penix historically, if you give him time like you do at Noodles, where if he doesn't have any pressure, he's going to pick you apart like a 7-on-7 drill. But he struggles with pressure, like all quarterbacks do. But I think he feels the pressure a little bit more. I thought his mechanics were terrible when he felt anything or saw somebody coming. Man, he's just throwing it off the back foot, and I think it cost him. He missed quite a few passes that he hit the week before against Texas, did not against Michigan. And let's give Michigan credit again, right? Credit. All year, tremendous defense. All year, and they showed it again. Absolutely, they did. Deserved national champion.
Wow, how wrong someone could be about their predictions, Grumpy. You pretty much got about anything and everything wrong before your predictions.
All Grumpy. I can think of is when he said the Heat were going to beat the Spurs. I don't remember which championship it was, but they won like one game. You're like, that's it. This series is over. It's done. It's done.
And then the Spurs
went on. It was like a gentleman's sweep.
They wound up winning the next 4 games and beat Miami Heat.
I was right.
You were wrong. You were wrong. I had to listen to Grumpy's nonsense talk about Washington's so great. Washington's this. Washington's the best team in the nation. You haven't been watching any of those Washington games.
You didn't watch any of the Washington games. They were 14-1. They were 14-1.
They played the Pac-12 fucking blows. How many more times do I have to tell you this? The Pac-12 plays zero defense. And guess what? They played Michigan, and Michigan didn't have Sarkisian saying, let's go ahead and script the first 40 plays. They said, oh, gotcha. Hold on a second. We can run the ball. And guess what they did?
We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
They proceeded to run the football right down. Think about this. Michigan ran for almost 300 yards on Washington's vaunted defense. Whoa.
You realize that was the first time. You realize that was the first time all year that Washington gave up more than 100 yards on the ground in the game. They were big plays. They were big plays. Here's the thing. Michigan hit a whole bunch of big plays early. Absolutely, they did. Michigan deserved to win.
So what are your thoughts about the Corum kid? Do you still think he's trash?
I don't think he's a great running back.
I think he's okay. Drew
he's
said,
not a guy who deserves. Okay, hold on. No, X, guess what? We're talking about the national championship game. We haven't even been talking about that.
It's over. It's a week old. Let's go. Let's move
Grumpy
on.
doesn't like that because he lost.
A lot of things to talk about.
Hold on, X. What did you say, X?
Grumpy doesn't like that because he lost and he was wrong.
Okay,
I want to keep talking about that. I want to keep talking about the national championship.
What's more important? The national championship's over in 3 days, or three titans in the coaching world?
I'd say the national championship because those guys aren't coaching anymore.
Three titans in the coaching world leaving teams within a day of one another. And I think if you look at it this way, I don't think you're ever going to see they're all in their 70s, right? How many coaches going forward do you think you're going to see coaching into their 70s?
Don't worry. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. You know what I think about that right now, Grumpy?
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
I couldn't care less about that right now, Grumpy. I want to continue to talk about the national championship, Grumpy.
That's
I do want to mention one more thing.
I'm going to watch some television. I'm already done with it.
I'm going to watch some television.
I'm done with that topic.
You know what he's like, X? He gets one thing wrong. And he pitches a little bitch party. Hissy fit. You know what? He got one prediction wrong, and guess what? He was running his mouth telling me, how wrong I would be for weeks in a row. Washington's the best team. They're going to win. Oh, they killed Texas. They're going to kill.
If you actually listen to the podcast, that's not what I sound like. That's what you sound like. It's not what I sound like.
Speaking of Texas, Quinn Ewers is returning for his senior year.
Obviously, a piece of shit quarterback like that needs more schooling.
You're wrong.
Absolutely.
Michael Penix. You said Michael Penix was good. I thought you said Michael Penix.
You know what? You want to know something? Michael Penix better than Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers didn't throw 2 interceptions like Michael Penix did.
No, he just couldn't. I'm just going to throw everything out of bounds.
Well, that's what Penix did. No, Penix just threw him to the other team.
What happens with the Manning kid? What happens with the Manning kid? Does he leave? Does he transfer?
Captain backup. Apparently, he sucked ass. Apparently, he is absolutely
Arch Manning is not very good. Have you actually watched him?
No, I know. I wanted to see him play.
I watched him play. I watched his high school film.
Okay. I don't give a shit what he did in high school. Nobody cares.
It's a lot more difficult in college than it is in high school. So if he can't even do it in high school, he ain't gonna be able to do it in college.
What'd you do, TJ? Watch him at Pop Warner?
Yeah. What I did is I actually watched him. I actually watched him throw him with his uncles, with Uncle Eli and Uncle Peyton back in the day when he was a kid. That's what I did.
He actually watched the national championship and he saw this guy who played for this purple team who kept throwing interceptions. Let's get on to the next comment.
Justin, how many interceptions did you throw on that game to watch?
Zero.
Zero.
He didn't throw a single interception.
Here's the thing, too. Penix couldn't sit back there all day long and let routes develop for 7 seconds.
If you remember, last Thursday, I believe, or maybe last Sunday, I said the one thing about Michael Penix is how he handles the rush. That's the one concern. Texas did not put much pressure on him, and he picked them apart. Michigan, to me, I thought most of the pressure, honestly, was phantom pressure, and he was just throwing the ball up. I mean, I didn't think he was accurate all game. I don't know why. He was obviously injured. That's not why they lost, but he was obviously injured. Obviously was.
Here comes the excuse train.
I've already said the better team won. They deserve to win.
Michigan, what would you say if you had to sum up what happened in that game? Would you say Michigan dominated Washington?
I already told you what I thought. You can replay.
Would you say Michigan dominated Washington?
I would say that Michigan. Didn't I say that earlier? Michigan absolutely. I said they're they dominated on both sides of the ball on their lines. Their lines were fantastic, offensive and defensive lines. Great game for them.
So you would agree that Michigan manhandled Washington, right?
I think they deserve to win. The game was 7 points with 7.5 minutes to go. So you get 1-2 plays either way. Washington could have won that game. Would they have deserved to win that game? In my opinion, no. I thought that the Michigan got up early and all of a sudden they went into a shell. And I didn't understand it, to be honest with you. They almost let Washington come back in the game, but Washington could not execute offensively. They just couldn't. Their wide receivers, who are normally very sure-handed, dropped quite a few that were in their hands, and Penix was very inaccurate. Like I said, 2 or 3 plays, Washington could have won the game. Undeservedly so, but they could have.
You think Washington should have won that game?
No, I don't think Washington should have won the game.
What
I'm saying is that game was much closer than the final score. They scored 2 touchdowns, in the last 6 minutes? That's what they scored at the end.
If you're giving up 300 yards of rushing, 300 rushing yards for a team that's not Navy,
I don't care. I don't care. All I said was Michigan should have won, but that game was much closer than it should have been. It was 17-10 with 7 minutes, I think, and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. That's still within margin of error. Let's be honest, right? But I mean, how many Washington didn't score at all in the second half? I mean, they had multiple opportunities, driving the ball down the field, turning it over, or not executing on fourth down, all those type of things. Field goal kicker missing kicks. I mean, they didn't execute. They didn't deserve to win. But to say that it was a total domination, I think that's a little bit much. Michigan deserved to win. Like I said, a couple plays go the other way. Michigan loses that game, and then it's a totally different story, right? Yeah. I mean, the better team won, though. No doubt about it. Better team won.
Absolutely, they did. And Michigan manhandled Washington all game long. Okay. Controlled the line of scrimmage.
All right. Make sure you get that last word in. That's a TJ specialty. Make sure he gets the last word in.
Can we get to the rest of the comments, please?
Please get to the rest of the comments. Drew says, I sent you some other material that happened just now, like the Yankees signing Marcus Stroman. X, what do you think about that?
I don't know.
I don't think much of Marcus Stroman. I just don't. He was with the Mets. Wasn't he with the Mets last year?
He was not last year. He was with the Mets in the past, and then he went somewhere else for 1 year.
I know he's been with the Cubs. I don't think much of him. Honestly, I think Jordan. I know, and the Yankees have also made an offer for Blake Snell. And I think I've said before, Blake Snell's flaky. He's kind of weird. I don't know how he'd be in New York. Jordan Montgomery, on the other hand, who's out there and has a market, I think he's pitched in New York before. I think maybe that's a safer option for them. He's also younger than Blake Snell. Blake Snell was good last year with the Padres, and he also won another Cy Young with Tampa Bay. But I don't know how he'll be able to handle New York. If he does sign with the Yankees, that'll be something absolutely to pay attention to. TJ Flipperoony says, the Flipperoony. Michigan controlled the first quarter. Washington finally limited their run game, but kept shooting themselves in the foot with penalties that killed drives. He's right. I mean, they didn't execute. At the end of the day, Washington had opportunities, did not execute. Michigan did. TJ the Flipperoony once again says, Penix missed a few passes that would have resulted in TDs. Definitely didn't look like his usual self. About every big play Michigan had, absolutely. Michigan, ESPN would show the replay and point out blatant hold after hold. All right, I'm not going with the penalty thing. I thought that particularly in the first quarter, Michigan changed up what their offense does. They changed up their offense, and it resulted in huge big plays. It absolutely did. Michigan didn't have that many big plays all year, but they did in that game. But then they settled back into their offense, which Washington had prepared for, and Washington pretty much shut them down after that. On the offensive side of the ball.
That's so unbelievably wrong. It's hard to fathom.
It's true. Next comment.
No, it's not. Oh, hold on. Grumpy, so you're the only person who gets the ability to comment? You're the only person who gets the ability to comment, Grump? Please, come on, stop. If I want to say something in response there, I can say it too.
You already have. If I hear the word dominate out of your mouth again, we've already heard that 10 times. You have no insight.
Guess what, Grump? Guess what? They
TJ
didn't shut
Flipperoonie-
the team
TJ
down. They
Flipperoonie
didn't
seemed
shut
to-
the team down. They didn't shut the team down, Grumpy.
did.
What
They
happened was
absolutely- they
okay,
absolutely-
is shutting the team down, giving up, and surrendering 21 second half points? Would that be called shutting down another team's offense?
That was all the last 5 minutes of the game.
It
That's why I
wasn't the
said
last 5 minutes of the game. That was a
last
good try,
750.
though.
The last 750. The last 750. And then how
Okay,
many times?
they didn't shut
They
them
scored
down.
2 touchdowns. No. They scored 2 touchdowns when Washington went for it at their own 30-yard line. I mean, you know,
When
that's
you're down
so it's like
14 points,
just
you have to
stop.
do that.
They had shut down their offense. They'd shut down their offense because they went back to the high school
They did.
offense that Michigan runs. That's what happened. Michigan deserved
They
to
did.
win, but that first quarter, they altered the plays that they did. They never ran those plays all year. The little counter box that they ran.
Yeah, you know what they did? They did
That's
a
not what
whole
they did.
brand new
They didn't do
playbook.
that all
They
year.
did a whole brand new playbook. They put it in 1 week, a whole install of a brand new playbook.
They were
in 1
wrinkles
week.
to existing plays. They were wrinkles to existing plays.
Jesus
And it
Christ.
worked.
Absolutely
And it was
not.
good. It was
Ugh.
smart coaching. My little brownie says, Drew,
What if
is
it
this
was?
the
I
normal
was going to
start?
say.
X,
Go ahead.
X, you have to learn that Grumpy, anytime when he's wrong.
What if it was all Corum
Corum
just doing like run after carry, just like
It
doing
wasn't
his own
even
thing?
Corum. It was Stewart. Stewart had the big rushing plays in that game. My little
What if it
brownie
was
said,
Stewart then doing? Okay,
Stewart's the freaking backup. It's just they
I know,
changed things up.
Maybe he did his own thing.
They absolutely changed things up from what they did all year because I watch Michigan games, unlike DJ, who's usually
Oh,
sleeping at that time since those games start like at
Imagine Grumpy
10
saying a
o'clock,
team that put up
Central Time.
13 points is playing a close
Oh my
game.
God. Okay.
Jesus.
My little brownie says, Drew, is
Hard
this
to
the normal
fathom.
start time? Thought I was tuning in mid-show. No, TJ was 40 minutes late today.
Yeah, it's Donovan Edwards, Grumpy, not Stewart's or whatever the hell you were saying earlier. Donovan Edwards, the backup.
Then
I
Drew
knew-
responds to my little brownie and says, my little brownie, unfortunately, yes. And it's all thanks to TJ not knowing the concept of time. That is once again correct.
Ouch.
Drew says, I thought TJ worked 9 to 5, not 9 to 9:30.
Damn.
Yes, I work all the time.
TJ Flipperoonie adds in a comment. TJ would say it was the big boys handling the little boys in the first quarter of the
That's
Natty,
correct.
but you could also say that was the 2002 Penn State team too that beat Miami. That's the way it was.
Guess what?
Milo Brownie said,
TJ Flipperoonie was not even old enough to be watching football back in 2002. TJ Flipperoonie was like 6 years old. Oh, please stop. Continue on there, X.
Milo Brownie says, look away for a second, and the Islanders do un-Islander things and score quickly in overtime. Look who had big games today. Noah Dobson, Ilya Sorokin, Matt Barzell. Oh, well, the only 3 players on the whole damn team. Gungu says, Grumpy, did you let out a squeal at the conclusion of the Islanders game? I did not. We were
He
just
said,
about
"Wow." That's what he did.
we were just about ready to go on to the podcast. TJ Flipperoonie, once again, you can tell right there what TJ was saying. He was backpedaling. Only bright spot for the Panthers this year was Derek Brown making history. What history did he make? Most sacks given up? I don't know.
No, he's
Does
a
anyone-
defensive tackle. He had the most tackles out of a defensive tackle in a single season or something like that.
Really? Well,
That's what happens
congratulations.
when your defense is out on the field for 95% of the game.
Well, but for
The
a defensive tackle to make the most tackles in history, that's pretty good because usually the guys who are making the tackles are the linebackers, right?
no, he's by far the best player on their team. They need to get rid of him, though, and get some draft capital.
Okay, here's the thing. First off, the best spot for the Carolina Panthers was a shitty performance of the quarterback they shouldn't have drafted, Bryce Young. That was the best thing
Wrong.
that the Panthers saw all
Wrong
season.
again. Wrong
They
again.
guaranteed locked
You
themselves
watch
into the
no Carolina
And-
Panther games. I want you
Look
to
at
run a
this.
banner.
Grumpy
just-
Grumpy gets
No, no,
upset
no, no,
when
no.
Grumpy's getting upset when I'm
Skip
speaking
me.
over him,
Yeah.
and I can't even finish a
Yeah.
fucking statement without him saying it, without exploding.
Because here's the thing. We need to
Zip
run a
it.
banner
What the
whenever
fuck are
you
you
say
zip
something.
it? What do you mean zip it?
Whenever TJ expresses an opinion, we should run a banner just to let it be known TJ has not seen this team play all year, so he's talking out of his ass as usual. That's the banner we need to
They
run
also
up there.
not see Michigan and not see Washington. I just
You
got
didn't watch
lucky
them
on
either.
that
You
prediction
absolutely
too. Oh, well,
You have to.
call me freaking Karnak the fortune teller because I scripted and predicted that game exactly how it would transpire. Because believe it or not,
We're past
and
that.
guess what?
We're past
Guess
that.
what?
Move
I don't
on,
need
move
to watch
on,
every
move
second of
along.
football. I don't
These are
need to
not the
watch
droids
every.
you're looking
I don't
for.
need to watch every single second of football in order to just to go ahead and come up with what happens. Right? I can watch a little bit and tell you what happens, Grump.
You're insufferable.
Ah.
That's why
You
it's
just wanna
so
go back to
honestly,
reading
it's
everything on your own?
pleasurable when you're wrong, which is most of the time.
Oh.
And believe you me, you got called down on it by TJ Flipperoonie, called you out. You were doing your fucking typical TJ backpedal, as you all always do, and you got burned by it.
Yeah, you're
Sorry,
wrong.
Flippy.
You're wrong.
Whatever,
You don't
Flip.
even know what you're
Next
talking
comment.
about. For the usual. Grump doesn't know what to talk about.
The reason why Carolina sucked this year is their offensive line was terrible, and they had no skill position players, with the exception of the quarterback. None.
Yeah, Grumpy, we're just going to put comments up, and you can just do what you want here, buddy. I'll
Joseph
take
C says, I am glad. Look at you, chased X off. I am glad Bill Belichick
pathetic.
is gone. Think he's going to Washington. To be honest, Washington is already out of the hunt for Bill Belichick. The teams to watch out for him are Atlanta, Dallas if they lose this week, and the Chargers. Those are supposedly the top three teams.
Do you think? I was going to say you don't think the Panthers aren't a top team for him?
Nope.
I know the
They're
Panthers
already
have interviewed a shit ton of people, like a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, they should. They should.
Yeah.
I think the owner needs to get out of the way. I think he's a problem.
I do. I agree as well. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, Grumpy, but the Charlotte Knights are up for sale as well for an estimated total of $100 million.
I wonder what their attendance was this year.
Not sure. I hope Tepper does not buy them, though.
That's an awful lot of money for
a minor league team.
AAA team. I think it is.
Well, apparently people are rumoring, that they have a possibility to expand. I'm like, they don't have the space to expand to a pro team.
I mean, I think they said that they could expand it to 35 or 40,000 uptown, but I don't like that location for a pro team. There's not enough infrastructure or parking to do that, in my opinion, anyway.
Yep. Agreed.
Any comments on Bill Belichick there, Mr. X?
Honestly, I think it's just about time he just hangs up the clipboard and the whistle, man.
Not happening. Not happening.
I know he wants to hit that most winning coach of all time, and he's not going to stop until he does that. But to me, I think it's time for him to hang it up.
I just think that TJ, do you have any comments on Bill Belichick being gone?
Oh, are you running the show? Is that how that's going? Or
No,
do we want to follow the structure, or what do we want to do there, Grump? I have items we want to talk about. I thought we wanted to get through comments, but
this is a comment.
This is a comment.
Yeah, he's not going there. You're asking me, do I have thoughts on Bill Belichick?
Where he might be going? Should he have been fired from New England?
He just announced less than 14 hours ago that he was no longer associated with the Patriots. You're telling me you have some sort of intel as to what's happened over the last 14 hours where he's no longer associated where he knows he's going to go? Is that what you're saying?
He's absolutely going to keep coaching. Do you think there are any teams that should be considered front runners for his services?
They haven't even fired all the coaches yet, Grump. Hard to tell. They haven't even fired all the GMs yet. Hard to tell. You really can't speculate on where someone's going to go. You can speculate who could be fired now, but apparently, right, the Eagles might get rid of Sarasani. There's a lot of teams that are looking to fire people, Grump. You can't start commenting on who's going to be hired yet because you don't even know who's going to be fired yet, Grump.
He's going to go to the Jets. They're getting rid of Saleh.
I don't think so.
That's what we do on this show. We take a snapshot in time, and then we make it. Then we have a take on it. Maybe you are not capable of having a snapshot take, but X certainly is. He's tremendous at it, and so am I. Maybe something you should consider.
That's right. That's right. Usually I look at your snapshot takes like we did the national championship game, and I look back on that and I say, that was a good one.
Ooh, wow. Grumpy,
let's continue on.
Grumpy, how are you feeling below the belt? That was actually a
I'm feeling
TJ.
fine.
Like one of the few.
I'm feeling sick.
He's not. He's fucking doing that typical shit where he's got to act like he gets so fucking upset because he was wrong on one thing.
It's
No, we're not
because-
going to talk about this anymore. We're just going on
Dude,
something else.
Dude, let it go. Let
Okay.
it go.
Okay, so
Move
okay,
on.
okay.
You're the one who's fucking talking still.
Shush. Okay, so I agree with you, Grump. I don't think that Bill Belichick is going to be given the rights to be GM. To me, I think he should retire, but I know he won't until he hits that magical number of 8,000 and whatever wins, where he's the most winningest coach.
I think he can still coach. I don't think he's as good a coach as he was, certainly not when Brady was there, but even just a couple of years ago. That being said, his acquiring of players was problematic. Now, Atlanta is considered, like I said, a favorite. Their GM there is somebody who's worked with Belichick in the past, with New England, years and years ago before Belichick was even head coach when Parcells was there. So Joe Collier, whose dad was coach and GM of the Cleveland Brown years and years ago. So there's some type of connection there. Arthur Blank has let it be known that Belichick is the guy that they're going after. He might want to wait. Like I said, the Chargers are still out there. If Dallas loses this week, Dallas could be an option for Jerry Jones. I don't put too much stock in Sirianni losing his job. I just don't. I mean, you were Super Bowl champion. They were really, really good until the injuries started piling up the second half of the season. But I can't see them firing him to bring in Bill Belichick.
Well, it's reported by ESPN, so
I don't give a shit what ESPN says.
Random shit up. So yeah, Ian Rappaport, players like that. No, we don't listen to them.
Well, do you think it has to do with the locker room?
We don't bother listening to them.
Do you think it has to do with the locker room issues that have been going on? Maybe he's lost control of the team.
They've woefully underperformed. They've played like shit.
The last few weeks, they absolutely have. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to the Bucs. I have them beating the Bucs, but apparently Jalen Hurts has not thrown a football since he had that finger injury. So
he's been hurt for quite a while.
I'm just saying I'll be very very anxious to see how he performs this weekend.
I mean, I'll ask TJ this question. Mike Vrabel is available too. If you were, who would you rather hire at this stage? Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick?
Vrabel.
Same here.
I don't know why
that's going to go. Jesus fuck. Again, I'm going to try to explain this to you. You can't even start to speculate on where a guy will go because we don't even know the openings yet. You don't even know what spots are going to be open yet, Grum.
There are 7 openings right now.
Yeah, and you know what coaches don't do? They don't say, I see 7. Let me just, I'm going to come real quick and go ahead and get a spot. They're going to wait and say, gotcha. Well, maybe if they fire Sirianni, it's a good spot to be with the Eagles. It's better than picking a spot than with the Atlanta Falcons or with Team A or B. They like to see all of the teams that are available. Jesus.
That wasn't my question, of course. My question was,
who would be a better coaching option?
Right now, if you were an NFL owner, and you had an option to hire a coach, would it be Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick right now?
Bill Belichick's probably still going to be a GM.
He's not. I guarantee you he will not be a GM.
So Grumpy knows that won't be.
Book it. Book it. Book it.
Okay.
That's called a take. Book it.
Okay. And what if he is?
Then I'll be wrong.
Wants to be a GM.
I'll be wrong, and you'll still be sitting on the fucking fence. That's what it means.
What if he still wants to be a GM?
What's it like having splinters up your ass from riding that fence all the time? Have an opinion.
Here's the thing, Grump. Well, let me ask you this. Grump, let me ask you this.
X. What about that one, X, baby?
Let me ask you this about Bill Belichick, right? How does it feel, grumpy old man, to be, I don't know, regarding Bill? I don't know. He only said he wasn't willing to be a GM or be a GM if he stayed with the Patriots. And you all of a sudden think that's going to be ubiquitous across all the teams now in the NFL?
Well, here's the thing. After his performance this year, after his performance since Tom Brady has left, do you think that team has gone up with his draft picks that he's had?
When you don't have a good quarterback, it's hard to win games.
He drafted the quarterback, did he not?
Yes.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It sounds like it's a him problem.
He drafted the wide receivers.
Do you know where he had to select? Do you know where he had to select that quarterback?
Number 15.
it wasn't like they had a really early selection to go ahead and pick up a quarterback because their team
He
never
ruined him.
sucked ass. Here's the
He
thing.
ruined him.
The team,
He
here's the
ruined
thing.
him.
Here's the thing. The team never sucked ass, and the team never got to a point where it bottomed out where they could draft a really good quarterback. So they stood on the treadmill of mediocrity, and guess what? Eventually, when you're on that and you continue on that path, you're eventually going to fall off the treadmill and hit rock bottom, which is where they are now. And that allows you to get a legitimate quarterback. But without a real quarterback in the NFL, how many teams, besides maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, could win games with bad quarterbacks? How many teams do that in the NFL?
They're the
Not
worst.
many.
They're the worst offensive team in the NFL. They're worse than the Panthers. The worst offensive team in the NFL. That's all. Here's the thing. Bill Belichick is responsible for everything in that organization for years. When Brady left, you look at his draft.
That's correct.
We can
4
go
years.
down. We can go
He
through
is
that- do his draft
responsible for Super Bowls as well, Grump.
Yeah, no, you know what? 2018. That's ancient fucking history. 5 years ago.
Oh, 5
He's had
years.
one winning season since Brady left.
How many rings does Bill Belichick win?
He ruined Mac Jones.
How many rings did Bill Belichick have?
Huh?
How many rings does Bill Belichick have?
6. Brady's got 7.
Yeah, hold on, 6 just as a head coach, right? Not even considering coordinator and as a
okay. You want to know how many Super Bowl titles he actually earned? Fucking 0 because he's a coach. He's not a player.
He's got 6.
Win games,
He's got
coaches
6. He was responsible of everything for years and years and years, and it resulted in 6 Super Bowl victories.
That came, if you listen to Robert Kraft today, that really came after they won their 3rd Super Bowl, is where Bill, he kind of got most of that power where he was in charge of everything. And
he helped them win another 3 Super Bowls.
Years. It was 10 years between when they won Super Bowl number 3 and Super Bowl number 4.
And they won another 3.
It was the Brady show. As soon as Brady took over, hey, I'm Tom Brady. Everybody else get out of the way.
Yes, let's diminish the defense. Let's diminish the kicking. Let's diminish the game plan. Let's just say Tom Brady is the reason they won.
Bill Belichick this year had when your
this is the real reason why he didn't want to talk about the college football playoffs, because he wanted to talk about Brady. Is what he really wanted to do.
When your team is the worst offensive team in the league, and you have 7 players on your roster who only play special teams, and you're the bottom 5 in special teams in the league, guess what? The guy who picks those players needs to go. I still think he can coach. I just don't think he can manage a roster anymore.
Let me ask you this.
Can't do it.
Do you think if he was given the option to say, hey, you could be a head coach or a head coach and GM, which do you think he takes?
I don't think he even gets offered that option.
No. I'm asking you a very easy question, Grump.
I would take both.
It depends on the team. It depends on the team. Honestly, it depends on the team.
So if he's given a spot to be a GM, he's given a spot to be a GM and a head coach, which I think is a possibility. You don't. I think he takes that job.
So you're telling me he would rather take head coach and GM at the Panthers than head coach at the Eagles?
Okay, I think he could get the head coach and GM spot in the Chargers. Absolutely,
Really?
I think that's a possibility. Absolutely, it is.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
They don't say, "Wow, we really believe in this guy Herbert. We saw what you could do with a real solid QB like you did on a Brady. Your defense usually runs ship shape. We have the personnel, but guess what? We don't produce results on the field." You don't think maybe the Chargers say, "Yeah, that sounds good. We want to bring him in as a head coach and GM." You don't think so?
Alex Spano has never given full autonomy to one guy.
How many teams do that? Not many is the answer. Robert Kraft, that's the first time he ever did it, but guess what? Kind of worked out for him. When you got a guy
give that to him right away.
When you have a guy who's the greatest coach in the history of the sport,
but he didn't have that right away. He didn't have that right away. The only guys.
When your resume speaks for itself, you do what it is.
But he's 71 years old.
That's correct.
He's not the same coach he was. And
he's 10 years younger than Lou Lamoriello, who's the general manager of the Islanders. What is your point?
And Lou Lamoriello does nothing. Guess what? Bill Belichick did nothing for the Patriots the last 5 years, and that's why their team is the worst team in the American Football Conference. The worst. Think about that. The worst.
Yeah.
Brainer
boy.
Brainer 955, 954 goes down goes Pajama Boy. Gungu says Sunday's episode was apparently disappeared like a fart in the wind. Son X, are you disappointed? If so, how much?
No, not disappointed.
I'm disappointed because we recorded an entire episode that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's what I was disappointed about. We'll leave it at that.
Drew says, I only tuned into the Islanders game for about a half a period. Martin Jones looks like the worst goalie to ever exist. Worse than Hunter Shepard.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, they have goaltender issues too in Toronto. A lot of injuries. TJ Flipperoonie says, congrats to none of us picking Michigan, with TJ changing his picture last minute and the cat got X's tongue, so he could never make a pick on a
I've
big
said
game.
I've said Michigan was going to win since before they even had the playoffs. I said after week 5, I said Michigan's going to win the national championship. I said their defense has given up a total combined 30 points through their first 5 games. I said they're the best team in the country.
Congrats to D. Monroe on picking all CFB playoff games right.
And Son X on picking.
You could just say, I got everything right there in the national championship game, but still one that matters. That's all I'm going to say. So able to point out that fraud.
Or you didn't get them all right. TJ, I did send you a couple of clips today on Bud Harrelson. If you
that didn't make the cut. That didn't make the cut.
Why not?
Because he's the tyrant. Rip Bud Harrelson.
You sent me fight videos of him and Pete Rose back from like when they used.
That was a big thing back in 1973 when the Mets went to the World Series. The Cincinnati Reds were the big red machine. They were favored to win. The Mets, I think, were like 87 and their record was real close. Maybe it was 83 and 81. They wound up winning the National League East. Wound up beating the Reds. And there was a big fight between Pete Rose and Bud Harrelson after Pete Rose tried to take out Bud Harrelson on a slide into second base. It's iconic. That's why I sent it to you. And Bud Harrelson passed away today, I think at the age of 79. And just hearing that he's 79, I know is going to make a certain member of this fan base feel old. It certainly makes me feel old. But he was a true Met through and through, and I believe he died of Alzheimer's disease. Maybe you might want to just pull up that Bud Harrelson thing. It's pretty good. You know, how many times you see fights in the middle of, at second base?
We've already, by the way, watched.
Jose Batista.
I can tell anytime I have a search and I type, it gives me the automatic link, and we pull up the video. It's
a big thing.
Done this before, so let's go back down yesteryear and watch again. For Grumpy's old time's sake.
Really heated up in New York.
Ron Milner throwing it down there.
Fight breaks out. Pete Rose and Buddy Harrelson. Well, I popped up a little bit in Cincinnati after Matlack's game. Made a silly statement that the Reds looked like me hitting. I didn't think it was all that bad. I was kind of putting myself down a little bit, but I was also putting them down. Then I heard that they were going to come after me and all that, so I figured that was it right there. And when Pete hit me after I'd already thrown the ball, I got mad and
took him down.
Little match. He just kind of lifted me up and laid me down to sleep, and it was all over.
Wow. Grumpy, have you ever looked at these clips and like, wow, you really can't see much?
All right, let's go to the next comment.
Joseph C. says, rest in peace, Bud Harrelson. Joseph C. says, Alexander is going to do a lot of crying once the Dolphins are bounced from the playoffs. Might not be in Kansas City, but it will be soon. Do we want to talk about the NFL playoffs yet?
Well, Dolphins don't swim too well in frozen water. So I don't think they're going to be swimming too well Sunday or Saturday.
I predict that'll be a low-scoring game. And
a lot of running.
I think the team that stops the run will have a great chance of success. Miami's had a bunch of injuries just in the last couple of weeks, and they haven't beaten a team that's really good all year. I know they beat Dallas, so I guess they have beaten one team, but the winning percentage of the strength of victory is under 400. That much I know. They don't beat good teams. Long story short, I think that's problematic. What do we think about this game only being on? What do we think about this game only being on Peacock Network, though?
It's bullshit.
I mean, bullshit.
Why should you have to pay for a playoff game?
Yeah.
Who the fuck doesn't have Peacock?
A lot of people.
People don't.
You think everyone in this country subscribes to Peacock?
Most people pay for cable television, which is mind-numbing to begin with. You just watch and stream everything these days, Grump.
Still, you could go to. I mean, it's not. Usually, it's always been on basic cable channels.
Yes, always.
You don't have. You never had to have a subscription.
It's cheaper just to get a few of the subscriptions of the places you like, and
it's cheaper to get basic cable than it is to get a subscription.
You got. Let's say you got Elmer. Let's say you got Elmer, who's a farmer in Nebraska, and you know what? He's just making ends meet, and he's like, you know what? I can't subscribe to every single streaming package, which if you do that is just, if not more expensive than basic cable.
Why would you be paying? How much do you think basic cable costs, Grumpy? How much do you think cable costs? Cable television?
Probably $60 a month.
Okay. So how much
I
do you
get
think
DirecTV. I get DirecTV.
How much do you think a subscription to something like Hulu or Peacock costs, Grump?
But if let's say you want to, you have to, if you want to see everything, Paramount Plus.
What do you want to see?
Paramount Plus is AFC games. Then you got Peacock, which only shows certain ones. Amazon Prime only shows
AFC games. What do you mean?
He's saying if you break them all up into
you realize they split that shit out, right?
They just spread them out. They have one game now on Peacock, and now they have games. All the Thursday night games are on Amazon.
And now you're having and Paramount Plus carries AFC games, which are the games that are on, for me, the CBS channel.
I know you never had to worry about watching the Thursday night games, TJ, because we were doing the podcast, but me and Grumpy would watch them during the podcast. So
guess what? You know what I was able to do? Who doesn't have Amazon? How many Americans you think don't have an Amazon subscription?
A lot of people are stopping using Prime because guess what? They don't do 2-day delivery anymore.
Yes, that's
now
true.
It's like a week. So what's the point of signing up for it if it's going to just be regular delivery time?
Because it's a one-stop hub just to purchase items.
You realize you can order through Amazon without having Amazon Prime, right?
You don't get free shipping, buddy.
You do. You get discounted.
You don't get free shipping. Okay. You don't get free shipping unless it's a Prime order. So, it saves on it. Like if you're going to order more than like 20 items on Amazon a year, it's going to pay.
Long story short, not everyone in this country even has access to the internet. I hate to tell you, I realize you do, and most of us do, but in big swaths of this country, they don't have access to it.
If you don't have access to the internet, how much?
Fuck you, kill you. You don't exist as far as TJ is concerned.
Okay. How much do you, if you're not watching or you don't have access to the internet,
your grandmother or grandfather, neither one of them had access to the internet.
Do you think grandfather at this age would be watching football games?
Absolutely.
Yes. How old would grandpa be? 90 plus years old? You think he'd be watching football games? No,
he wouldn't be watching. He'd be wanting to suit up and get out there.
He watched them till he was 89 when he died.
Oh my God!
Your grandmother never had internet.
She never watched fucking football. What do you want?
But she never even had internet, TJ. So she's not ordering from Amazon or having an option to watch Peacock.
It's the vast majority has access.
Okay, not everyone in this country has access. You just
Why are the games now behind a paywall?
That's right. That's right.
Here's
because
the thing.
guess what?
We're trying to make everything just go straight through the source.
This has gone before Congress because let's be honest, the NFL is a monopoly, right? And they have it's antitrust violations, all this stuff. And they say, well, the playoff games are always on regular TV. That was the bullshit that they spewed at Congress. Okay. What happened 3 years ago? The greedy pigs in the NFL. COVID. Oh, well, we got to make sure that, we're going to add a playoff team because, it's better for the league because of COVID. Did they ever take that back? Nope. So now you have super wild card weekend. It's not wild card week, super wild card weekend because we had to add another week. They're greedy. And now you watch. There's going to come a time where they're going to try to put the Super Bowl on some streaming platform. Absolutely.
And it's going to be like $60.
This is
like
the test.
Pay-per-view.
This is the trial balloon they're putting up.
Guess what? $60. If it costs $60 a month for cable, well, hell, This is 1 month of cable. You don't even need to get cable. Who the fuck still has cable?
Okay, you
Why
realize
would
you
you
can't
get
watch.
cable?
You can't
I
watch.
see people who sometimes pay $200 plus for cable. Why are you
can't
paying
watch-
for cable?
You can't watch any of the big college football games. Won't be
That's
on there
wrong.
that are
That's
on
wrong.
CBS. That are on CBS.
ESPN
and
has
Fox.
every single game.
Bullshit. The games that are on
ESPN
CBS are not on ESPN Plus. TJ, you're wrong. You are
ESPN
wrong.
has every single game.
Wrong. Wrong.
Well, maybe
The
because
games
I only
that are
watch
on-
the
the games
ACC
that are on
and the
CBS.
SEC.
The games that are on CBS, the SEC games are not on ESPN Plus.
Not
CBS is free.
The primetime games are not on
CBS is free. Well,
Plus.
let's say maybe
No,
let's
it's
say they
not.
put it on
CBS is
Paramount
not
Plus.
free. You have to have a subscription to watch CBS. You have to have cable to watch CBS.
is basic cable, my guy. CBS is free.
No, it's not.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Let's pull that up. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this.
Is on basic cable. CBS is on basic cable.
Thank you very much.
You will not get those games. Okay, how do you
But
think
it's
you
just
get basic
basic
cable?
cable.
Cheaper not to buy cable and to get a few subscription services, and it
Wrong.
cuts your expenses. It's not
Wrong.
wrong. It's right.
Wrong.
You realize all these streaming services, all the costs have gone up and up and up and up. Have you noticed?
How many streaming services do you really need?
I'm just saying, if you
If
want
they
to
have all the games on different ones, you're going to need all of them, right, to watch them. So does this mean now that the games are on a streaming service, do we still have to pay for NFL Sunday Ticket?
Guess what? You don't need NFL Sunday Ticket.
You will need NFL Sunday.
You absolutely need NFL Sunday Ticket if you watch all the games. You
Out-of-market games?
absolutely have to.
You can watch them later on, or you can illegally watch them. my guy.
You can illegally watch them.
watch
What the
them.
hell are you
There you
talking
go.
about? You can't watch the games.
Okay.
That's why they have NFL Sunday Tickets, so you can watch pick and choose your games. And here's the thing: when it was on DirecTV, it was $365. When it goes to YouTube, it's $465. They were still selling those those subscriptions the last week of the
Down
year
to
for
$30.
$50.
$30 is the lowest it went for the last week. $30.
I mean, think about that. You know what it tells me? YouTube didn't make as much money as they thought they were going to make.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
They were dropping the price all year long. All year long.
Well, that's what happens when you start out the pricing at $410 or whatever it was.
Just
It
don't
was
buy it.
for 3 months.
And I said, no freaking way.
Yeah.
And because I always got it when it was on DirecTV. That's why I got DirecTV. $365. Okay. Yeah, it's pricey, but I'll get it. An extra $100? Absolutely
Yep.
not.
That's it.
And that's the issue. That's the problem. Wait till you hear the screaming. That people already complaining that it's on Peacock and you can't watch it on regular television.
Who the get rid of fucking TV. See you later. Who
This
watches
guy,
TV?
he can't even.
Is
He
there a
won't even listen
reason
to the
watch
fucking
TikTok?
radio.
Is
You
there a
won't even
reason
listen to the
to watch
radio.
Guess what? I don't
You're
need to
not
watch
normal.
another sitcom for the rest of my life. I don't need to watch another Golden Globe or any of that bullshit for the rest of my life, and I'll be happy and content. The only thing I need to watch is the things I like, and maybe a football game or two, and maybe some sports. I don't need to watch any of the new stuff.
Get ready to
that
pay.
comes out. What's
Get ready to
TV?
pay for everything. Get ready to
Oh,
pay.
I got to get my Discovery Channel. I got to get this channel, that channel. All that's available through Hulu.
Do you live by yourself in a fucking hole? No. You have a wife and you're going to have a child. And guess what? You're going to be ordering all that shit. Anything that they want, you're going to be getting for them. And I can't wait. I can't wait. This is the guy who won't even listen to his fucking radio when he drives to work.
Hey, no, we got to make sure we got our cable and this and that and this. Oh my
Fuck in
God.
the head is your problem.
You don't need everything, my friend. Enjoy
Also,
what
you want to
enjoy.
hear something funny? Remember when we used to pay
Okay.
for songs on iTunes?
Yes.
You don't need
crazy.
everything. You don't need everything. This is coming from the fucking guy who called me up the other day to make sure that I okayed him to watch on my
You
fucking
have the
Netflix
subscription,
to
Grump.
make sure that he got to watch Netflix on my subscription. Yeah, okay.
You
Why
have
don't you just pull up your phone and use your phone?
Grump. Guess what? When you log into our Disney, do you see us go like,
I don't
"Wow,
log into your
hey!"
Disney. I have my
You
own Disney.
you
I
do, and
already
that's
told
fine
you.
too. Guess what? You could split with other people too. Well, that's the great thing about streaming services. One person could
I
take
get them
one
without
expense and
commercials.
share. One person could take another expense and share, and you could share them
You
around the
can't
reduced
anymore.
price.
The way Netflix is going, everything's going to follow Netflix, where you can't share
is
accounts.
Right now, it's
$25
not, though.
a month. Netflix is $25 a month. $25 a month. There you go.
Yeah, and
the,
I believe
price, the price of that stuff always is going up.
Everything
Always.
goes up in
And you
value.
don't think when they
It's
sign a
inflation.
deal with the NFL, that shit's going to go up even higher?
I mean, just wait. You're going to see the day
You'd be
where they
paying
put the
$60
playoffs.
for each service, which you're going to be paying
That's right.
$60
They're
for
going to
each
put the
service.
playoffs because what's the NFL been really good at doing? Parceling out certain packages of games.
I don't
to
need to
certain
watch
streaming
it.
things.
I don't need to watch that.
TJ, don't even comment on TV, music, or radio.
There you go.
Here's the thing. If that's the case where they start putting everything behind the paywall, I don't need to watch sports anymore. I'll be fine.
Well,
That's it. I don't need them anymore. Fuck them. I
How
don't
are you
need them
gonna do the
anymore.
podcast? How are you going to do the podcast?
The podcast wouldn't exist in it. That's so far off in the future.
Oh my God. He would just scrap the podcast.
They're going to charge me. I'm not going to do. I'm just going to sit here on a chair with a bulb hanging out of the ceiling.
Here's how you
I'll
solve that
find
issue.
other ways to make do and
Here's
be
how
just
you
as
solve
fine
that
and
issue.
happy.
You boycott and you don't watch the game on Saturday.
Guess what? I didn't lose a wink of sleep. I didn't lose a wink of sleep at all. I'm gonna watch it on Peacock on
You
Saturday.
told
We're gonna have
Goodell
a
to suck
podcast.
the fat one and you don't watch.
I'll be doing a podcast. Grumpy will be watching as we're podcasting on Saturday evening, but I will
I
be
can
just
guarantee you
podcasting
that.
because I
much I can
stay
guarantee.
dedicated to
No,
present.
Grump,
as
you
to what
cannot
we're doing.
watch. You have to boycott.
Grumpy. It's almost like Grumpy's going to be doing something, but he's going to be so distracted still watching the game that he won't be able to focus on the podcast.
Maybe you guys should do a live stream of the game.
Yeah.
Well, there's an Islander podcast at that time, so we won't
Because
be live.
you should do a live stream of the game for the people who don't have Peacock.
There you go.
Boom.
How about the people on Peacock? Why don't you try to help out society for once instead of looking at just seeing being so greedy and just living in with like one light hanging out of the ceiling, you sitting on a wooden stick chair just staring at your phone.
How is that me being greedy? How's that me being greedy?
TikTok videos.
If I don't watch TikTok, I don't do TikTok. I don't do TikTok. First off, Grumpy. Okay.
Well, I don't know what
It's
you
a
watch.
lovely
but
page
it's
that does
disturbing.
TikTok. Not me.
It's
I don't do
disturbing.
TikTok.
The things you watch on your phone are disturbing.
You know what you do? You know what you do, Grumpy? You wake
Anything
up.
I want, pretty much.
You wake up. You put your Blu-ray in. Grumpy. Let me ask you this. Speaking of expenses, Grump, wouldn't it not just be cheaper for you instead of buying every single Blu-ray known to mankind, just to buy a few streaming services, so you never had to buy another
This stuff
Blu-ray
goes off
again?
the streaming service, DJ.
Not everything's on the streaming service. Matter of fact, a lot of the movies that are great classic movies, they put a lot of useless stuff that you'd probably like on the streaming services where you don't need a brain or a thought process or any of the mental synapses. None of the synapses are firing up top. That's the type of thing you like. I like things that make you think. I like things that are creative. I like things that were done well. And that's mostly
You know what? The best way I can explain it, Grumpy, is it's like if you're at a cafeteria, right? And sometimes they've got pizza, sometimes they've got yogurt, sometimes they have all different types of food. But guess what? One day you go to the cafeteria and you go down and you're like, I'm really feeling like a hamburger. Well, they didn't have hamburgers. They had hot dogs today. Wow, I want my hamburger. This is ridiculous. Let me go someplace, get my hamburger. You know what? Just fucking eat a hot dog and get over yourself.
So
And
that's
fucking
it.
keep moving.
Instead of you getting to enjoy what you want, you just need to suck it up and accept the fact that they don't have the shit you want. That is an absolute awful way of thinking of it.
That's
DJ.
right. You are the
entitled. Sorry, I'm not entitled like you two losers.
You governmental hack. Here's the thing.
You know what I am?
What would TJ do, X? If
There
he
would be
walked
people
in,
dying in the streets if TJ was in charge.
what would TJ do if he went into an all-you-can-eat
You
place?
want food? We're out of food. Suck it
No,
up. You drink
no.
puddle water now.
No. This is what you drink patty water. No,
Oh, yeah.
This is what would happen. TJ walks into an all-you-can-eat thing with a whole bunch of a la carte menu. What would TJ be? He would be like Bluto Blutarski going through the cafeteria line, eating freaking everything that wasn't freaking nailed down because there's nothing TJ won't eat. But here's the thing. When people are selective in their diet, they only like a certain amount of things. TJ, for him, that's okay. They don't have hamburgers. That's okay. I'll eat octopus over here or squid or freaking hot dog or anything.
You
'Cause
make
you'll eat
do with
anything.
what you have. You make do with what you have.
All right, let's go to the next topic.
Thank God X is here. Thank God X is here. Go ahead,
FSU
X.
hit with NIL penalties. Wonder if this will become a trend.
What's an NIL penalty?
I didn't even realize they had NIL penalties yet.
Sounds like shit that's made up. That's probably a TJ comment. It's probably a flipperoonie.
Yeah, maybe they got hit with NIL penalties because they played so poorly in their bowl game.
Now, I did see that they got hit with name, image, and likeness issues, but as to what it is, I didn't have enough time to research it ahead of time.
I did send you a couple of articles today, which I guess we won't get to. But the NCAA is looking for a way to directly pay the athletes because they don't like the name, image, and likeness thing. They just don't like it.
They want to be able to have more control.
That's right, which is what it's all about, control and keeping some of that money in their pockets.
Yep.
Guggen says, Son X, during last night's episode, there was a reference to Grumpy doing a fans-only page. What are your thoughts or concerns on this potentially delicate matter?
A fans-only page? What would this fans-only page entail? Like you commenting to fans or something?
Maybe. Something
Only
like
fans.
Oh, only fans.
He called it fans only. Grumpy called it fans only.
No, Grump. Yeah,
no, that's what Google said. Fans only page.
That's what you said yesterday. He was quoting you, grumpy old man.
Maybe that's what it said. It said fans only.
If you did a fans only page, I'd be worried that you wouldn't know how to operate it. And you should not be doing an OnlyFans page, Grump. Pretty sure they'd censor that. So
I'm sure. Drew says, after what I saw in college football national championship, Michael Penix is just Tua with a better arm. He's the exact freaking same quarterback. I thought so too. I thought anytime there's pressure, just throwing off the back foot, and that's a bad thing to have if you're a quarterback.
Also, another thing, he got injured in that game too, so even more like Tua.
The glass jaw.
Joseph C says, TJ Flipperoonie, bringing those receipts.
Absolutely.
I just forgot to include everything above that one comment. TJ Flipperoonie, Grump.
Enjoy retirement, Saban, greatest football coach of all time. To win it all in multiple places and take this year's Alabama team that far, he has coordinators and coaching staff leave nearly every year. You could tell he was getting was having more issues. NIL was devastating for him.
Yep.
Complained about it all the time. And he looked old too.
Decide that this was the right time to retire.
Does look old.
I don't think there's any good time, especially when you're a coach, because once you're a coach, you think you're going to be a coach forever. But I actually thought that in hiring coaches, recruiting players, that my age started to become a little bit of an issue. People wanted assurances that I would be here for 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and that got harder and harder for me to be honest about. And to be honest, this last season was grueling. It was a real grind for us to come from where we started to where we got to. Took a little more out of me than usual. And, when people mentioned the health issue, it was really just the grind of, can you do this the way you want to do it? Can you do it the way you've always done it and be able to sustain it and do it for the entire season? And if I couldn't make a commitment to do that in the future, the way I think I have to do it, I thought maybe this was the right time based on those two sets of circumstances that, like I said, there's never a good time. But I thought maybe this was the right time.
So there's no illness. It's just the grind and the gruel of the season.
Yeah, there's no illness. Miss Terry's fine. I'm fine. But it was can you sustain the season, from just a mental grind standpoint. And when I was young, I could work till 2 a.m, get up at 6 and be there the next day and be full of energy and go for it. But when you get a little older, that gets a little tougher. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
I know Grumpy can relate a lot more to that these days too.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think he pulls an Urban Meyer, sits out a year and tries to come back?
Absolutely not. I think he's done. And I think it has nothing to do with the name, image, and likeness. I think he did a great job coaching this year. I thought he had lost his fastball. I was mentioning that a while ago, but I mean, he did a great job of how he ended the season, what he was able to accomplish with that team, who I think was underwhelming.
I thought it was his best coaching job ever, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good way for him to go out. I mean, your team makes the playoffs. You can't really ask for more.
Mm-mm.
And you lost a close overtime game against the national champions.
Could have went either way. Honestly, could have went either way.
Yeah.
Let's comment here.
Alex Diaz.
Alex Diaz is in hiding. Better hope Miami's run game is good enough.
It's not.
Very true.
And I put that up earlier. We didn't talk about it, but supposed to be in single digits with 10 to 20 mile an hour winds
I hope it snows. I hope it snows in that game.
It's not going to.
I love football and weather like that. I don't like
only watching it at the house, right? Only watching it at the house, not watching it there at the stadium.
Yeah,
warm underneath the blanket in his nice heated house.
Yeah. Not in 2-degree weather. You wouldn't want to be standing out there in 2-degree weather getting peppered by the wind, right?
The only thing that bothered me, wind and rain. Being outside in the rain games, that was miserable. But wind.
This is the same guy's like, oh, man, my hands are cold. My hands are cold.
You know what? Honestly, as I've gotten older, absolutely, my hands get cold more often.
Nick Saban.
Maybe it's just an aging thing. I don't know. But I mean, those are great games. They're fun to watch. I wish it was snowing, but that's what I like. I mean, I hope it's a good game. I'm rooting for Miami. I think Kansas City will win, just because I just don't think Miami's good enough. I don't know if they have the heart to win. I mean, think about it. They should have beat Buffalo last week. That's a game.
Drew invited me into one of these where I could listen to one of these Twitter spaces where there was like 100 Miami fans or 200 Miami fans. My God. After they lost, they're calling, man, they're not out here. They don't want to, they had Jalen Waddle played on a broken leg or a broken hand, and he was out there playing in the national championship game. He's got no heart. All this other shit like that. I'm like, your team just fucking blows, man. That's it.
Well,
they're just not good enough, and they don't have a quarterback. Simple as that. Nothing to do with players aren't overcoming the adverse situation. The team just doesn't have a QB, man.
They don't. Are we going to talk about the NFL now or talk about it later?
Just talking. We're just doing comments, man. Just
okay. Well, I'm because I do want to talk about the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. Absolutely do. And do our picks. I want to see how smart
let's get through the comments. Let's get through.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments. So if we could just kind of get through these comments real quick, and then we can get to that stuff.
All right. TJ
Flipperoonie. Alabama's downfall. LOL.
I don't think so. I mean, now there is rumor that there is a rumor that the Washington coach is the front runner for the Alabama job. I thought he did a great job with Washington. Really did.
Up until the national championship. And then you were also saying, the game before the national championship, because you were calling him a moron, the fact that he let Texas back in the game.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. From where Washington was as a program 4 years ago, worst in that conference, he's done a nice job. Absolutely has. And I think
Washington was not worst in the conference 4 years ago, were they?
They were like 4-8. Just 4 years ago. They were bad. TJ Flipperoonie says, Belichick technically has 8 Super Bowls, so has won without Brady. Okay. When that was Bill Parcells was the coach of the first two. Bill Parcells. So okay, so that's like saying
running and getting coffee.
You were on the staff. I mean, and his thing.
He was the defensive coordinator for those years.
Great defensive coordinator. Failed head coach without Tom Brady. I don't think anyone can deny that.
Oh my fuck.
Failed head coach without Tom
Brady.
I still think greatest head coach of all time. Certainly on the Mount Rushmore of head coaches. JP says the prudent manner in which X stars comments is like butter. And when he turns on the multicolored strobe lights, his Mike Modano jersey flutters. Just spitting facts here, gentlemen. LOL. JP, that's the way to get X to show your comments.
I start a lot of JP's comments.
Joseph C. says 7 national titles will never be done again for sure. Certainly not in the era of NIL, which it's like free agency for college. And that's what Belichick and Brady and the Patriots what made their dynasty run so spectacular. It was all during the age of free agency. It was different when the Steelers were winning, when the Cowboys were winning, when the Packers were winning. Those guys stayed with the team forever. But with the free agency, everybody's moving every year. You can't keep a team together with the salary cap, and that's what made what the Patriots did so special. Joseph C. says, as much as I want to say Belichick is a product of Brady, there's no question the dude is the best defensive mind to ever coach in the NFL. If not the best, certainly on the Mount Rushmore. That much I'll say. Got to put Lombardi up there too, right? Landry, Shula, those guys. Drew says, Islanders just won in overtime. The Leafs suck. Their goaltending's terrible. Drew Reviews Music says, at this point, the Islanders are like the Patriots, beating the Jets all the time. True.
They always beat the Leafs.
That's true. My Little Brownie, our friend, says, speaking of oldies retiring, Grump, in your opinion, why didn't Nick Saban stay long as an NFL head coach? Because Miami, it didn't work out there. A lot of my brother is a Dolphin fan, and he calls him Nick Satan. To this day, hates Nick Saban. He thought he ruined the team. He's more cut out to be a college head coach where he's totally in charge. And he was a tremendous college coach, right? Certainly on the Mount Rushmore of college coaches. What do you think, TJ?
I thought we are trying to get through comments, and that's why you just continue to talk and talk and talk. So I'm just going to try to make things.
I think he's one of the best, if not the best, college coaches. Next.
JP says, I thought the Leafs were going to roll when they were up 3-1, Drew. Not going to lie. Derek Monroe, I went 3-0 in my college football picks. Michigan, Washington, Michigan. Fire. You know, Derek, one thing I like about you is you are very modest. You don't call out. You have your brother call out your accomplishments, which was just throwing darts at a board. And then you come on and double down on it.
We have a lot of comments to get through, Grumpy.
Thumbs up, Derek Monroe.
We're an hour and 10 minutes in, Grump.
Drew says, TJ, you need to get more sounds. Stop being a lazy bastard and get some sound show. Joseph C. says, most guys can't transition from college to the NFL. It happens. Only Jimmy Johnson, Pete Carroll, and Jim Harbaugh have done it successfully. That's fair. Joseph C. says, Stroman's a good pitcher, but he's historically been awful at Yankee Stadium. Sounds like a smart signing. Won't be long before that dude is blocking every Yankee fan on social media. They'll turn on him quick. Yes, they will. He also adds, Stroman has ridiculous rabbit ears and calls almost all criticism of him as racism. Maybe he just says he's a shitty pitcher. Drew says, Blake Corum is such a special running back. No shot the Chargers don't draft him. I'd be shocked if any team other than the Chargers didn't swoop in and draft him in the second round. Long way off from the draft, Drew.
Well, in all seriousness, there's no way in hell that kid's the second round. I'm sorry. I don't think much of the kid. Go ahead there, Grump.
Joseph C. says, Blake Snell is great when he's on, 2-time Cy Young winner, but the walk rates would scare the shit out of me long term. He also doesn't really throw more than 5 innings a game. My Little Brownie says, X, does the warden ever step in between your bro and dad when they get into these heated discussions?
Sometimes not really. Usually we just let them go at it until it fizzles out.
Grumpy's pathetic.
Drew says, offense, zip it up there. Offense in the NBA has gotten out of
Come on, just read the fucking comments.
Offense in the NBA has gotten out of control. The worst commissioner in all of sports, aka the alien head, Adam Silver, needs to bring back the hand check.
Yeah.
TJ Flipperoonie says, you all understand the Penn State reference. It was supposed to be a good joke referencing the Sandusky scandal. We try to blank that out.
Yeah.
Flippy.
Grumpy Grumpy cannot be tasked with talking about any possibly borderline inappropriate subjects. He's back on probation talking about spicy subjects. Isn't that right,
Drew says, I swear I'm watching the Knicks game and the officiating has been exceptionally terrible. All the foul calls are going the Mavs way, none for the Knicks. I smell a bit of rigging going on.
Hey, Drew, Vegas.
Or maybe the Knicks are just committing fouls.
Vegas.
Frank says, TJ is butthurt. LOL. Drew says, this podcast title should be renamed TJ and Grumpy Fight the Entire Podcast with X as the moderator. X is a good mod. X is wonderful. He's such a good son. I just have to say that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, X.
Praise.
TJ's okay too. Drew says, Eagles are so cooked. As a Giants fan, I'm very happy. I think they're cooked too. I think we'll talk about that in our football segment. TJ Flipperoonie says, happy early feel-good Friday. Frank says, they haven't even brought it up yet. First thing I say is, told you, Grump, we were winning. Great game. And what a goal by Romanoff, LOL. James Farrell says, Vrabel going to the Pats, maybe McDaniel.
I heard it was Mayo. Gerard Mayo may be there. Who knows?
That's what I hear too. James Farrell says, Belichick going to the Chargers. Do you know who came up with the name Belichick?
Who?
It was fucking Don Shula, that old piece of shit. He was so afraid that they were going to have that undefeated season that he started attacking Bill Belichick. TJ Flipperoni says, be a friend. Tell a friend something nice. It just might change their life. Pat McAfee. Ugh.
We got to talk about Pat McAfee too, Grump. That's a good segue to talk about Pat McAfee.
Drew says, riding the fence with splinters up your ass. I'm quoting that. I like it.
Enjoy it. Now, Grump, you sent me something earlier this week talking about how Pat McAfee was not allowing Aaron Rodgers back on the show. Remember that?
True.
Are we going to get through the rest of these comments?
Okay, get through the rest of the comments. We'll table that. Get through the rest of the
Frank
comments.
says, Belichick's so overrated, sucks as a GM, a good defensive coach, but overall a piece of shit. I think that's a little strong, Frank. John Sam says Alabama beat reporters are reporting that Alabama has agreed in principle with West Virginia head coach Neil Brown. Yikes.
That's a lie.
That's
That
questionable.
can't be real.
Man, that's not good. Freedom Front Event says, okay, let's air this out. Glory by X. What the heck do you do when you abandon your post and responsibilities, leaving your father and bro to fend for themselves? Try abandoning your post in the Marines. Shake my head.
Please go back to Parrot Island.
Which
Paris,
post?
not
did I
Parrot
abandon?
Island, it's Paris Island.
I thought X called it Parrot Island, which is why I
No,
was trying to make a
no.
throwback to that.
Oh, God, so dumb. Which post did I abandon?
The show.
When did I abandon the show?
How
When
many
you
times
leave.
have you abandoned the show?
All
Let's
the
be
freaking
honest.
time.
Oh, you mean like the show didn't get canceled when I couldn't make it? Oh, well, it sounds like
I don't
certain
know, like
people
when
get
you
special privileges.
yesterday, when you halfway through the episode stopped starring comments. And
Oh, you mean because it was going on over 2 hours? It was at 2 hours and 45 minutes.
okay?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
X.
sorry. There's a timer for me when I stop.
X. You stopped. You started for like 20 minutes, then you stopped until
It
I
was
had to
2
text
hours
you.
and 40 minutes.
Freedom Front
That's how
Adventure
long.
says, what if Belichick ends up at Alabama? That's not happening.
Yeah.
Freedom Front Adventure says, did Sun X screw up the recording of that episode? No. What does he do when not performing his duty? Sleep? Video games? Yes. I know he isn't
Video
walking or
games.
training that dog or training that dog. True and true again.
You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait till the next time Grumpy has to walk dog Z, and it drags him down the street and breaks his hip because he's so unruly, that dog.
Here's the thing. We had dog Z for like 3 days. Was it 3 days, X? How many days? X.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, we missed the little puppy. We haven't had him for a while. And I got to say, we miss him. We do. Frank says, hit the thumbs up. 2 thumbs way up. TJ Flipperoni says, Patriots had more wins than a playoff team than Miami did. I don't know. It makes no sense. Mario says, Prime Video subscription is going up, and all their programs and movies will now have limited commercials. The ad-free version will cost you $19, and that's the direction is going. Just like having cable, and now they're going to charge you if you want to not get commercials, it's an extra $20. Everything goes up.
About commercials. Who cares about commercials?
A lot of people.
Commercials.
You might as well just get fucking cable then.
A lot of
It's
people
cheaper not to do cable. How many times?
No, it's not. You realize a lot of
cable
people
is $60 a month.
A lot of people are going back to cable because of the cost of the subscription services and all the ads that you have to watch. That was the appeal of that.
If you're paying $60 a month, right? You're paying what? $720 a year. You don't think you can get a $60 subscription to Peacock, your Amazon Prime, which you use for other items, and just say, let's go ahead and have some commercials on that.
How much do you think Amazon Prime is, TJ? How much do you think Amazon Prime is?
It's a yearly subscription to
How
order.
How much is Amazon Prime?
I can tell you how much because me and the lovely Paige have one. Grump, it's like $200 a year.
$200.
Okay, we're doing the math to get to our $720 for the cable that he's paying. So we're doing all the math, my friend. Okay, you could go ahead and do your Amazon Prime. Then you go ahead and do Hulu, right? If you have Spotify, it gives you a free Hulu depending on the Spotify level that you have, right?
So that's another.
You listen to fucking music. How many people listen to Spotify?
The lovely Miss Page does. The lovely Page does. And she pays like what? She pays like $10, $20 a month for it.
Okay.
She's getting free Hulu.
She's getting the first responder rate. You realize most people are not first responders, right? You're aware of that.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, it's if you add it up,
All right, let's go on to the next comment. Come on, next comment. It's expensive. Okay.
That's it. Freedom Fund Red says Sun X spent 5 days coming up with the Dolphins don't swim too well in frozen water line. Miami won't win. Howard, Baker, Van Ginkel, Chubb, Phillips, Waddle, Masterson, bunch of O-line is out. Waddle will be back. Excuse me.
Injured fins, all of them. Injured fins.
The Waddle will be back. The running backs will be back. I think the biggest issue is without having the edge rushers. I think that's problematic.
Yep.
Particularly since Kansas City's a lot to hold. Freedom Fund says it's all a scam, just squeezing us like lemons. Absolutely. Brainer 954 says a lot of SEC and ACC games are on those conference channels. TJ, true. They're not all on ESPN.
All the conference channel games go through ESPN. In case you're wondering, for ESPN Plus. Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
I watch all the ACC network and SEC network games on ESPN Plus. So you might want to just check that one out. Yeah, just check it out. Okay, it is true.
Freedom Fund Adventure says, how long until the elitist tyrant TJ puts this show behind a paywall? That's not happening.
Yeah.
TJ Flipperoni says CBS, Fox, and NBC are free if you stick the rabbit ears on the tube. TJ thinks he can watch more college football than Notre Dame games on Peacock is funny. ESPN is picking up the SEC deal from CBS going forward.
ESPN
and guess what that means? ESPN now, as they're picking up these other teams and these other deals, the price of you as a consumer is going up.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They're going to just charge you more.
I can do the math.
The fan says,
run, yeah.
What the streaming blows. Abso-freaking-lutely. Goon says, PJ, if Baby Z, no, it's not going to be Baby Z. It's going to be Baby L, grows up to be a musician or just enjoy music, will you be forced to face your musical phobia?
I'm gonna try to message her that she doesn't need to like music. Thank you.
Guess what? She's gonna like little boy bands that come out, and TJ's gonna be singing all those songs.
Ooh, the new One Direction band.
Oh, right.
No music.
Fun adventure. Yeah. I can't wait. All these, you're so definitive. Know this, know that. Let me tell you something. We need to be documenting this shit because anything that my little granddaughter's going to want, she's going to get, and he's going to be Captain Caver right there. Whatever. Yeah, sure. Freedom for Adventure says, can you imagine how much player movement in the NCAA football this summer? Alabama's entire roster has 30 days. Whatever coach they hire for the school will have 30 days. Some college coaches may get NFL jobs. I don't know about that. My little brownie says, I'd rather talk about Taylor Swift and Travis what's-his-name than hearing you guys argue about streaming services. I agree. Gungun says, TJ and Son X, who wore the pants in the family while growing up, the warden or Grumpy?
The warden.
Oh, stop.
What, Grump?
Google said, we already
Ward was usually the first line.
Minister of Finance, Grump. She's the Minister of Finance. She controls all the funds. And that, Grumpy, she wore the pants.
Who wore the pants in the family?
Who reprimanded us?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
That's first reprimanding, and that if it needed more, Grumpy would come in for the big weights.
Grumpy would be sitting there watching TV as the warden did everything. She's like, Tom!
He's going to be like, knock it off.
Drew says, Grumpy, safe to say, we already read that one.
Sorry.
Grumpy, is safe to say TJ is like Draco Malfoy, rich and snobby. And narcissistic. Yeah, now it fits. Draco. Free Fun Adventures. No, TJ is not, he's not snobby at all. He's douchey, but he's absolutely not snobby.
Hardship is occasionally okay. Maybe it might help the country and some people learn that hardship is okay.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to tell you what he was elected in his little family group. I will not tell you that. It's
okay,
not.
Come on, get to the next comment. Get to
Freedom
the next comment.
Says, TJ, who won't even buy a chair for his beloved father to sit in comfortably. Remember the 6-hour episode Grumpy had to do laying down on the bed? It's probably where he got the idea to start his OnlyFans page.
Grumpy didn't like certain chairs in the house because I
There
heard
were no chairs in the house.
Grumpy didn't like the chairs at the kitchen
There
table
were
because I
no
heard his
chairs.
butt.
There were no chairs.
So I
There were no
can't.
chairs.
You know what I literally like to call that? He can't sit in a chair that hurts his butt. We like to call that a pain in the ass, is what we like to call that. And Grumpy needed to sit and lay on the bed.
What
It
was I
is
going to
true.
do? What was I going to do with the computer?
Hook it up.
What? Sit on my lap with the one light bulb over the top?
The kitchen. You put it on the kitchen table and you sit in a chair.
Your wife was in there, TJ. She was watching television. I should have chased her out as opposed to going in the spare bedroom.
Now
What
my
the fuck is
memory is
wrong with
hazy.
you?
Now my
You need
memory is
you
hazy.
need to learn a lot about being married. Freedom Fund Adventure says the kid who won the Calder had a goal and 3 assists tonight. The big-nosed lion jerk from Toronto had 0 points. Love beating arrogant Leafs. Freedom Fund Adventure is still not over. John Tavares leaving the Islanders. And he adds, problem is, there were several highly ranked recruits who asked Saban his plans, and he assured them he would coach them for their time at Alabama. Makes it hard to retain, which is great. Frank says hockey gods are punishing Big Nose Freedom. He hasn't done shit. Hasn't won shit. Won it, yes. Freedom Fund Adventure says Grumpy, Miami was beating Buffalo. Then Baker, Van Ginkel, and Good went out. 3 out of 4 linebackers out. That's when Buffalo was able to move the ball and score. Wrong. They moved the ball all fucking day and would
Josh Allen
threw 2 interceptions, fumbled the ball, all in the red zone. All in the red zone. TJ, you're freaking Giants and a Pitt fan. You can't throw shade.
Damn.
I can't.
TJ next. The memes are sent. Big Islander fan says Saban left the Dolphins because they would not sign Drew Brees. Who knew you cannot win in the NFL without a quarterback? He left midseason. I don't even think he lasted out the year, if I'm correct. Guru says, my peeps, what was the longest Ichiro have gone with no sleep? Also, is sleep overrated or underrated?
I've done an all-nighter. I like sleep.
Sleep is absolutely underrated. I've been up probably longest, maybe 48 hours. That's about it. Here we go. This is from Drew. Nick Saban retires at 72. Pete Carroll was retired at 72. Belichick leaving the Patriots at age 71. Congressman, 97. True.
You know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving.
There it is. The Wolf
Fun Adventure says, Grumpy, you did not just call Don Shula a piece of shit for Belichick. Yes, I did. Shula is the winning coach in history. He is, and absolutely was a wonderful human being. He was a nice man. Bellucci is a total douchebag.
I'll tell you this much. X and I have met Don Shula.
Yep.
He was a nice guy, right?
Yeah. He was
Yes,
old.
He was.
Yep.
Keep getting older.
Everything he said was correct there.
He sat on an uncomfortable chair, though, Grumpy.
I think Don Shula was probably a better coach than Bill Belichick, and his wins record would have been a lot higher if they had played 16 or 17 games a year. I think that's safe to say.
Belichick's the best coach that's ever lived.
Okay, I'm going to say Mount Rushmore because it's tough. It's different times.
Look, the coach of the Russian hockey team was the best coach that ever lived. They won
Yes, that's right. That's right. The original coach of the Russian hockey team certainly was. Freedom Fund Adventure says Saban didn't work out in Miami because he didn't have total control of the players. He had a tremendous roster. He was a jerk too. Secretary who served every coach in Shula said good morning to Saban. Saban ignored her, but complained to the VP who explained to her never to address the coach. Jackass. He was also in the Bill Belichick coaching tree. How is it possible, says Gungun, that Belichick and Carroll are out of work and Saleh is still unemployed? Well, it's an age thing. I mean, you get to be in your 70s. I just think it's more difficult. Frank says, I take anyone over Saleh, anyone. Freedom Fund Adventure says, Grumpy, what does your boys' lack of follow-through come from you? Absolutely not. You never did listen to Havana 3 a.m. album. I did not. I have not.
Grumpy's so busy today. I called him at lunchtime. At what time is it by you, Grumpy? 12:30, 12:40. Yes, you sleeping. Grumpy was taking a siesta. He just woke up for the day. The warden's like, she's like, Grumpy just woke up for the day. Grumpy.
She's jealous. She's jealous that she's still working and I'm retired. What can I tell you? Brainer 954 says, you're wrong, TJ. I watch the Hurricanes. If they're on ACC Network, it's blacked out on ESPN.
I'm able to watch every game.
TJ Flipperoni says, Cadillac Williams just resigned his role as running back coach at Auburn. Damn, that's a big hit. Gungu says, TJ doesn't seem to care. Grumpy says, Gungun, what are your thoughts about the old MTV show 120 Minutes? I never watched it. I watched MTV when it was music videos. When it first started, that's when I watched MTV. Drew says, okay, so remember when I was ranting about the NBA refs earlier? We do. How can we ever forget? X put the comment up, and he's been banished from putting up those comments. Well, the Knicks were down 25 with 7 minutes left in the game, and they just cut it to 1. The Mavericks might actually choke this game away. Drew said, so let's talk about the Pat McAfee stuff.
Yep, let's get into the Pat McAfee stuff, TJ.
And Gungu says, let's not forget Shula was a cheater himself, forgetting, yes, that's right, not forgetting. He did not put the tarp on the field when they had almost a semi-hurricane coming through Miami, and Miami beat the Jets 14-0 in 1982, I believe it was, to go to the Super Bowl. That's when the Jets had a high-flying offense. Didn't put the tarp on the field overnight, and the field was the mud bowl. A.J. Dewey had 3 interceptions off of Rich and Todd, including 1 for a touchdown. And Dolphins went to the Super Bowl and got rolled by the 49ers. Okay. For Venture Grumpy, Auburn also lost Roberts, the defensive coordinator. So it sounds like they got some work to do.
Well, here's the bad thing. It's not allowing, it's doing this damn spinning death wheel over here as to try to pull forward the video.
Why don't we do our picks then for NFL while we're waiting?
Good idea. There you go, X. Man, X. He's on top of the game, this X character. All right. First game, Houston and Cleveland. X.
Houston. I've got Cleveland.
Cleveland. I like that. I'm also going Cleveland. I think their defense is better. Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper's going to be back. I think Cleveland has a chance to do some damage this playoff season. TJ?
Cleveland.
We all agree on Cleveland.
Yeah,
game 2. Do we know what game 2 is, X?
That's going to be, well, if you want, we could just go, let's just say it's Kansas City and the Dolphins.
Okay. X, we're going to let you once again take the lead here.
I'm going to say Kansas City. I think the Dolphins are in my pick'ems, I picked the Dolphins, but I think Kansas City's going to beat the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are too banged up. And I think the fact that it's supposed to be like 2 degrees in that game is going to help Kansas City out mightily, because we all know the Dolphins play poorly when it's cold outside.
I am rooting for the Dolphins. I'd like to see them win. I think the fact that the edge rushers are out for Miami is going to spell for a Chiefs victory. But I am rooting for the Dolphins. There is one comment I want to read real quick. Frank says, Grumpy is like John Travolta from the 70s, bro. He's a natural Casanova, bro. LOL. Absolutely. John Travolta, super nice guy, by the way. Then let's move on to Sunday. The early game is the Steelers and the Bills.
I got the Bills winning that game.
I don't get a response. I don't get a response.
I'm sorry.
You just start doing what you want to fucking do per the usual, and you just doing what you do.
Oh my God! Just spit it the fuck out, TJ. Who are you gonna pick?
Chiefs.
I've got the Dolphins.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're right.
That's why I picked in my pick'ems. I don't
thought
think
you
I'm
said Chiefs earlier today, though. Okay. Second Sunday. Bills and the Steelers, TJ Watt is out of that game.
Yep. So that's why I have Bills winning. I think the Bills are going to win. And I think that TJ Watt loss is massive for them. He was having a hell of a season and one of their, if not their best defensive weapon, and he's gone. So
I also am picking the Bills. I think they're battle tested. They've won, I think, 5 games in a row. And I think that's a good harbinger going forward in the playoffs. TJ?
I think if the Steelers replace Mason Rudolph halfway through the game with Kenny Pickett, the Steelers win. I'm going to put the Bills down for right now because I have no way of knowing if Kenny Pickett's going to be in there or not.
If Kenny Pickett plays, they will 100%.
If Kenny Pickett plays, they win. If he doesn't, they lose. How about that?
Don't you have to score to win?
He's already lost his quarterback job.
I'm giving this one to the Bills.
Okay. The Bills. Next is the Packers at the Cowboys.
I have the Cowboys winning that game. I am not in love with Jordan Love. So I just think that the Cowboys offense has been phenomenal this year, and I just don't think the Packers can be able to keep up.
Jordan Love, second in the league in touchdown passes, came on like gangbusters against some weak teams down the stretch. Everyone thinks he's a franchise quarterback going forward. We'll see. I picked the Cowboys also. I just think that they're too well balanced, and I think they play much better in Dallas.
Cowboys. Got to.
Cowboys. Just one answer. One answer, guys. We just need the easy answer here. Lions and Rams.
Rams.
This is a tough one. It depends. If the Rams decide to not run the ball, then I'm going to say the Lions. I think the Lions have a huge loss in Sam Laporta being out for the rest of the year. If screw it, I'll go Rams as well, but I think it's going to be a good game. If the Rams don't run the ball, though, they're going to struggle to score.
I think Sean McVay has done a spectacular job with the Rams, consider where they were supposed to start and even how they started this year. I'm with the Rams over the Lions. But I am rooting for the Lions. I want to see the Lions win.
Lions are a big up and down team. It's not what you need to be a postseason success.
Yeah, they're a big boomer bust.
Yeah. Here's the thing, too. Rams have a way of dialing in pressure on QBs, and, we'll see. I like Dan Campbell, but I'm going Rams. Now, Eagles and Buccaneers.
I have the Eagles.
Go ahead.
I have the Eagles. I'm just now, I like Baker Mayfield, but after watching that team have as close a game as they had against the Panthers last week on a game that they needed to win, I am not high on the Buccaneers.
This game is in Tampa Bay. The Eagles are definitely Uncle Mo is not on their side. Jalen Hurts has been injured for weeks. He dislocated his finger in the game against the Giants, hasn't thrown a pass since. A.J. Brown is having knee issues. There's trouble in the locker room. I'm picking the Eagles.
Well, shit, after you just make a statement like that, I'm gonna go Buccaneers.
Baker Mayfield could be the difference. I just think
Nation. That is right. Bake Nation.
I just think the Eagles are just so much more talented than the Buccaneers.
I think they're consistent choke artists and they underwhelm. This year they've been freaking miserable down the stretch.
True.
I'm thinking Buccaneers.
True. I am rooting for the Buccaneers, though. And there we go.
Able to get the Pat McAfee stuff up, TJ?
It's not going to load for me. It's ESPN for the reason. ESPN, like certain clips of his from ESPN, don't want to load. So I had to clip the 3-minute and 23-second long clip. Long story short, they said they were going to remove him. He came on today. He came, right, Grumpy? So they didn't remove him. Who the hell knows what's going on with them? They didn't like the fact that there was the Epstein list. Rodgers explained it. I thought he explained it fine. He was just saying, hey, Jimmy Kimmel laughed at him for thinking that there was going to be a list of names of a whole bunch of people that were partaking in some sort of pedophile acts. And Rodgers said, he probably doesn't want that list to be released, blah, blah, blah. Kimmel took that as a personal affront, thinking, hey, you think I'm on that list? Well, no, Rodgers apparently was just more meaning the fact of, this is what Rodgers says, he's more meaning the fact of, I was correct that there is this list and that these are continually these issues that you guys turn a blind eye to. And they went back and forth. Who the hell knows? There was a whole bunch of drama, BS drama, but this is him today on the Pat McAfee show.
Joining us now to chit-chat about massive names being, amicably departed from two teams at a very, very high level. He's a 4-time NFL MVP and a man who is a Super Bowl champion.
I like AJ Hawk smiling as he's introducing him like, oh, shit, here we go.
Gentlemen, the last human that Bill Belichick talked to on the field as the New England Patriots head coach, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron, how you doing, pal?
Can you guys see me?
Yeah, you look fantastic. You look great. Clearer than whenever you usually call us from wherever.
So, long story short, he was back on the show. They had made reports, resounding reports, that, hey, Aaron Rodgers will not be on anymore this season of the Pat McAfee show.
McAfee said that. McAfee said that.
But he had him back on today. So
Okay.
you be the judge.
Oh, good. I just want to say Jimmy Kimmel's a piece of shit. Because here's the thing. I'm no fan of Aaron Rodgers. As anyone on this podcast knows, absolutely not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. He's he's not clutch. Don't think much of him. Jimmy Kimmel came out and attacked him. He says his thing. And then Jimmy Kimmel comes out and just absolutely skewed him. Questioned how smart he was. Just like,
Wonder what? For a comedian, you sure as hell can't laugh at yourself, can you, piece of shit?
You can't. And I just don't think attacking somebody just really nasty shit. Saying the only A's he ever got in school were when he spelled his name with 2 A's and Aaron. It's like, dude, grow up. I thought
you can afford cable TV to watch that stuff.
And for 7 minutes,
No,
he
it's
went on
also on
attacking Aaron
Hulu.
Rodgers.
It's on Hulu.
For 7 minutes, he went on attacking Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, grow up. He looked really, in my opinion, looked really, really bad. He can't take any criticism. He picks on people. If somebody says something back to you, you better have thicker skin than that. Absolutely should.
Drew L. Grump.
Picks for the playoffs: Chiefs, Cowboys, Lions, Bucks, and Browns. It looks like he left out some of the teams, but hey, that's okay.
Ryan Retcher says, "What poppin'? What's up there, Helen Yeller?" My little brownie says here, "Let's talk."
Zegras, Gensel, Vetrano may be available at the trade deadline. If Lou gets one of them, will he get a pass on the season? He doesn't have enough to offer for any of those players.
I thought Zegras broke his foot, or was that his ankle, or was that somebody else on Anaheim? Now that I'm thinking about it, let me see.
I honestly don't know. I think he's out, but I don't know the reason.
Is Anaheim? Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Why would Anaheim trade him?
That's what I was going to say.
He broke his ankle. He's at 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll trade him.
Why would Anaheim trade him? Why would Pittsburgh trade Gensel?
Anaheim traded away. Think about it. They traded away the young defenseman. What the hell is his name? Jamie Drysdale. He was the 5th overall selection a few years ago.
They got Cutter Gauthier back.
Yeah.
That's why.
I'm just saying they're making some changes, right? They traded away a guy who was a 5th overall pick back in the 2020 draft, so they're making some changes.
But they got the guy who was 5th overall in 2021 draft. So it's like it's not like 22. It's not like they're giving him away, right? So, and again, why would you trade Zegras?
I don't think he's underperformed this year.
Okay,
it's the NHL cover curse. That's why he was on the cover last year.
He's hurt.
The cover curse.
Jamie Gensel. I know he's a free agent at the end of the year. Pittsburgh's, in the playoff hunt. Why would you trade him? He's on the first line on that team. I can't see it. Vetrano, he's interesting. Who's Vetrano with now? He's not with Vancouver. Is he?
Jake Gensel, right?
Yeah, Jake Gensel. I'm
is
sorry. And Frank Vetrano. Okay. Who's he playing with now?
I think with Anaheim still.
Again, he's probably been one of the better players. Why would they move him? It just makes no sense. They're a young team. He's more of a veteran presence. Why would you move him? Is he UFA at the end of the year? I don't know.
He's 29 years old.
Okay. Is he UFA? I don't know.
He's got 20 goals already this season, 30 points in 41 games. He's having a career year and a contract season. The guy's never registered more than 41 points in his NHL career, and he's already got 30 at the halfway mark. Huh.
If he doesn't seem like a New York Islander first liner to get re-signed for a 7 or 8 year extension, I don't know who does. I could see him being a guy that Lou would absolutely target. And here's the thing: he wouldn't perform here like he's doing in Anaheim, and we'd regret that contract the minute that it was signed. And I like
he'll have a year left. He's got 1 more year left under contract. So he's got this, and he's making $3.6 million a year.
Then they're not moving him. They'll keep him and trade him at next year's deadline.
Alrighty. Did you hear, by the way, Barkley? Apparently they're looking to divorce between Barkley and the Giants.
Giants have had a freaking weird week. Wink Martindale resigned, or said he was fired. Then the Giants said, oh, no, we want to keep him unless he doesn't want to be here. And then later that afternoon, they agreed to part ways. Saquon Barkley, probably the best thing for him would be to leave the Giants. I think he would be able to, on another team, he'd be able to maximize his ability.
Ugh.
What are the other options they have? Franchising him again?
Yep.
I mean, he's a running back. Running backs have no value, and by the time they're, after their first contracts, they're just not.
Where do you think would be a good landing spot for him?
Anywhere. I think he's a good back. If he played for a better team with a better offensive line, I think he'd be really good. How about a team like Philadelphia? They got a whole bunch of guys. Tell me he wouldn't be a better lead back than Swift and Gainwell. Even though Swift's been really good this year, he's always had injury issues.
Yeah.
I think almost anywhere but the Giants is a good place for him. And yeah, here's a trade that netted the Eagles, A.J. Brown, and the one that Mike Vrabel, all of a sudden, he was visibly pissed off trading A.J. Brown.
This is the beginning of the end. Jesus Christ. This is the beginning of the end with his relationship with the Titans.
Yes. And he was noticed. And the owner didn't like this year, Vrabel in the Tennessee's bye week was elected by the fans into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. And he went in there and said, what a great organization that New England is. They do things the right way. Bob Kraft is a great ownership. Belichick was a great coach. And the owner did not like that. Absolutely at all. The owner of Tennessee did not like that. And that kind of sped his departure from there as well.
Salty later.
Raiders head coach or ex-head coach John Gruden's lawsuit against the NFL and Commissioner Roger Goodell was heard today in the Nevada Supreme Court. A lot of juicy stuff to come.
NFL's going to lose that case. They're going to want to settle.
I would assume so as well. But I was like, let me put that up. But that's happening out here too. X, what are the comments you have? Because we have a video that will end our show on here today.
Yep, we got 3 comments.
Yeah.
Vetrano getting moved, at least to me, makes a lot of sense. A 29-year-old on a career season. You still got one more year of team control at 3.6. Why would you get rid? You're going to get a boatload of ice time. You move it next year's deadline. Derek Monroe says, can't believe TJ picked the Dolphins. Me neither. Surprising.
Yeah, well, Grump, if you stop talking, I wanted to talk about both of those. Vetrano, if he's only making $3.6 million a year and he's on pace right now for 60 points, I would trade him now. You've got another year of team control at 3.6. That's a really affordable deal. I think that's a guy where if they're smart, I try to trade him now if you want to. Regarding the Dolphins real quick, here's the thing. I think, unfortunately, the Chiefs just don't have it this year. I think Kelsey's finished. I think I would be shocked if Kelsey plays one tops maybe. Here's the thing. Depending how things end this year, it would not shock me at all if Travis Kelsey announced after they got kicked out of the playoffs saying, I'm retiring. That would not leave me a bit shocked at all.
Let me ask you a question. If you were because I think the perfect replacement for Travis Kelsey is Brock Bowers. If you're, they say he'd go anywhere between, 15 and 20, whatever. It's early yet, right in the process. If I'm Kansas City, I offer my first round pick, next year's first and a second to move up to make sure I get Brock Bowers and give Patrick Mahomes his security blanket for the next 10 years.
Then you still have no wide receivers.
You can get wide receivers. It's tougher to get that guy who's the security blanket. I think that's a no-brainer. I think he's a perfect replacement for Kelsey.
Well, what if I think Kelsey wants him really bad and they don't want to trade?
just trade above that team. I mean, there's going to be a spot where he's picked. You just trade, to where he's projected to go or a little bit before that.
Number 1 overall. No, I'm just playing. Not a Will Levis 2.0.
The thing that's at least worth saying here for Kelsey, I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do when he leaves. They don't have any. I mean, like, what do you, the team? That's going to be a huge loss. Even though I think he's lost a step visibly, and I think he's past his peak. What is he? 34, 35 years old.
34. He'll be 35 next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he'll be 35 next year. How many 35-plus-year-old tight ends you see out there in the league? You'll see a few like Antonio Gates. They're built like brick shit houses. Travis Kelce's not built like a brick shit house. Anyway, Drew.
And he's noticeably slowed down. But I mean, don't you think that'd be a nice kind of have Kelce for one more year, have Bowers break in, and then have him take over? I think it's smart. Drew says Giants also got the Raiders offensive line coach to replace that bum Bobby Johnson as well. The coach isn't the problem. It's the pieces of crap they have on the line. Drew says, Grumpy, why would the Chiefs trade their first when they literally can draft someone like Adonai Mitchell or Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round? That literally makes no sense. Their wide receivers are not tight ends. They need a tight end. Drew says Rashid Rice has been more than serviceable, but the Chiefs just don't have a good second option. They thought Kadarius Toney would turn into that guy. The Chiefs drafting a wide receiver at number 25th pick. That you can get wide receivers. What you're finding now, wide receivers like running backs. You can get good wide receivers later in the draft. You don't have to get them in the first round. Tight ends are much tougher to get. And in that offense, the tight end is almost more important than the wide receivers.
Rice is not a number 1 wideout.
No,
he's just not like serviceable. Like you're
I don't
not.
think he'll ever be a number 1 wideout.
Probably not. I'm not like when I'm looking for a guy who's a number 1 guy. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, this guy may be serviceable. He's got to be a whole hell of a lot better. The rumor is that maybe Devontae Adams might be headed to the Jets. I don't know. There's a lot of those type of rumors, and it might reunite with Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? Who knows? So,
what would you have to give up to get him?
I don't know.
Zach Wilson.
I mean, the Jets aren't the Jets picking top 10. I'm not giving away the first round draft pick for Devontae Adams. He's 31 years old. No way. He's not afraid to play. One thing I'll say about it, he's not afraid to play in the cold.
Yeah. We'll mention here about that is I didn't know he had 103 catches this year, Devontae Adams.
He had 103 catches?
A lot more catches than I thought he had.
Yeah, me too. He's on my fantasy team.
Well, let's listen here. Let's listen to a little clip to end the show.
In the last game, he was targeted 21 times. Think about that.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few targets, that's for certain here. This is a homage tribute to Bill Belichick, the greatest football coach of all time, Grumpy.
I'm tremendously excited to be here, to be a part of the New England Patriots organization. My basic philosophy in terms of winning football games is to have a strong, tough, physical team and to try to be as well prepared as we possibly can. Corners are.
When he's addressing the media, look at him. He doesn't sound so cynical. He doesn't sound so so turned off when he talks to the media.
This is early Belichick.
I'm the new head coach of the team. And
X, do you feel like this is very low sounding? Listening to him
I think
talk?
It's fine. I think you just need to get through the video.
Okay.
McLean and Aeneas Williams, and they play a lot of cover too.
And the Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The best team in the National Football League! And the Patriots win in overtime! We're Super Bowl champions again! Back-to-back World Championships, 3 out of 4. Yes, it's a dynasty. How we feel about playing for Bill Belichick?
I can't change the clock in my car. There's no clock set it. We're on to Cincinnati. I would not say that I'm Mona Lisa Vito of the
football world.
No days off. I just need everybody to do their job. Intercepted! I do anything. I do anything.
Grumpy, are you getting emotional?
No. You want to know why that video was so short, considering that 24 years? They wanted to make sure they didn't put any pictures of Brady in there. I guess that's the
true.
end.
Not true.
It is true. There was no picture, not one picture of Brady, not one.
You're wrong. That's not true at all, Grump.
Where was the video of
Where
Brady?
was the picture of Brady?
Holy
They didn't
shit,
have any
you're gonna
pictures
make
of Brady in there at all.
It was Gronk and Edelman.
Oh
Teddy
my God.
Bruschi.
Do you mean to
That's
prove you wrong? Give me a second.
Yes.
Damn. All right.
They
Give me a
showed his
second.
daughter. They showed a whiteboard.
All right. Give me a
On to
second.
Cincinnati.
All righty. We're going to
Malcolm Butler.
guess.
TJ, it's
Let's see
okay
here.
to admit you're wrong. No Brady. No Brady. No Brady.
Don't worry. You see Brady here. Cool your fucking
No
jets.
Brady.
Is that really no Brady?
That doesn't look like
That's,
Tom Brady.
that's not Brady.
Is that Brady right here?
There he is. There's Brady.
Is this Brady?
No
Yep.
Brady. No Brady. No Lawyer Malloy, who he got rid of just before the next year. No Brady. Halfway through, no Brady. Uh-oh.
You'll see him.
They
Don't
got
worry.
his dad there. There's his dad. Make sure he's got his dad in there. Romeo Crennel.
Yep.
Teddy Bruschi.
Who is this?
Robert Kraft. Teddy
No,
Bruschi.
you'll see him. This is Brady right here.
That's not
Who's
Brady.
that?
Oh, come on.
Listen to him.
TJ, please
Listen.
stop.
Listen.
Okay, who's this? Who is it? It's Bruschi talking.
Listen
You know what
again.
you could've done?
Listen
You
again.
could've put
Listen
up
to
Tom
response.
Brady holding the MVP trophy up next to
Listen,
Belichick.
I
but
want
they
you
didn't
to.
wanna
I
do
want
it.
you to listen. I want you to listen to this. There's Brady right there. Here he
Where?
is.
You got to pause it and stop it to say maybe that's Brady.
That's not maybe Brady. With the bricked up that you
Okay,
always offer
who
him,
is-
you don't know who this guy is right here. That's Tom Brady, Grump.
Just play it full speed. You can't even tell it's him. They
Yeah, it is
consciously
him.
left
Sorry,
out
I
Tom
pay
Brady.
closer
They
attention than you do.
consciously scrubbed it from Tom Brady. Robert Kraft. They even got his fucking car in here more. His car radio got more run than Tom Brady. His car
There's
radio.
not a lot of people who didn't get. Randy Moss didn't get any play. There's not a lot of people got a lot of play in here,
Randy
Grump.
Moss was there 2.5 years. Tom Brady was there 20.
Oh my
Devin
God.
McCourty.
Tom Brady was there more than Edelman was, and Edelman got a speaking role.
Teddy Bruschi. Malcolm Butler. Josh McDaniel. There you go. Look at that.
Guess what? That was just as quick as the Tom Brady flash by, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. No.
If they were actually talking.
Yeah. No.
You know.
They consciously
All right,
scrubbed Brady out.
let's end it. Let's end it. Let's wrap it up.
That's it.
He got himself a little spot. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous just because I'm right. You're wrong, Grumpy. Don't be upset, buddy.
You're wrong.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. What do you guys want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to
Grump
say
Max?
love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the grumpy old man, Sun X, and the streaming companies, which you have to have Peacock to watch Kansas City, Miami, which is probably the most intriguing game of the weekend. Better get Peacock.
X, what do you want to say
X.
before we wrap it up, buddy?
Love the interaction from the audience. Had a wonderful time doing the podcast tonight, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll be with you guys live Sunday evening, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Thank you, Grumpy. Thank you, Sun X.
My pleasure.